and welcome to the Bookover, a little book club where we talk about books, especially the ones that give us book hangovers. I'm Sarah, with me is Megan.
Hey, everybody.
And today we are talking about If You Don't Love Me, We Both Die by CM Stunich.
Yeah. And a major theme of the book is bubble tea or boba.
Boba.
This is a fruit.
Sunshine in a cup, just like the book. Sunshine in a book, kind of, but not really, because it is a journey.
It is a journey. I love the journey, though, because like most of the journey made me smile, even though they were counting down the days that they had left until they both died with Boba.
Right? I know. I liked the Boba countdowns, and I liked how like she would get more, and then it'd be like, and then it would catch up, like, 'cause she'd drink 2 in a day.
Oh my gosh, it was so cute. She's like, yeah, ruin my boba count for me. And he would treat her to more boba. He's like, okay, that's how much you think you're going to have. Well, then here's like 5 boba.
Yeah. I loved that.
That was really cute. Well, okay, so I love this concept of like, okay, so she's just like, you got a big time. And I'm not a Justin Bieber fan, but I think CM's inspiration is more like K-pop stuff. But like I did have to think of like Justin Bieber a little bit, and like how he was with Selena Gomez, and that was a big thing, and then how Haley came. So I was thinking like who's a big pop megastar. And just imagine there's this big pop megastar, and you get cursed. You have to make him fall in love with you, so you basically have to become a stalker for this pop star. I mean, it's just like, what a cool concept of like she has to make this pop star fall in love with her. You rarely do you hear of female stalkers, especially in a rom-com, especially with this like set into the real world, but with this like family curse. And it's done in a way where like even she knows it sounds crazy. Like she's like, I know you're not going to believe me. It's not like, oh, okay, there's curses like within the real world. It's the real world. If someone came up to you and is like, I'm cursed, of course you're going to sound like a psycho fan. So like, what a setup to try to get someone to fall in love with you. I ate that up. I loved it. I was like, and it was just so fun. And the meet cutes. I mean, like the lore of the curse, how there were so many different like family members. They had notebooks, and like you would hear all these different stories throughout the book of these different family members who perished or found their true love, or like some like their true love, their match stole something from them and they put them in jail so they could go visit them and fall in love. Right. What a great concept.
Yeah.
So different. Just so different.
It was different, and it was fun. And that's, I think what I liked it is because we've been wanting something fresh, something new that we haven't read. And this I definitely have not read. And I loved like them. I love how like when Lake, gets the curse and she's like, are you kidding me? Like I'm dead. Like I'm dead. How am I? And I liked that was her challenge, was like not only getting the point of like getting Tam to like listen to her and not be scared of her, but also for herself to realize that she is worthy of somebody. She is worthy of a celebrity. Like, and what I really loved is like how, she's doing all this stuff online, and Jules, her brother, is saying like, don't do it. And she's doing it anyways. And she's like thinking she knows all this stuff about Tam, and all of it's a lie. All of it's his brand, and none of it is him. Like he loves watermelon. He doesn't hate watermelon. So it's like, I love that.
She didn't like about him too.
Yeah. It was all things that she's like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. And then she gets to finally, like, because I feel like what I really liked, she was so honest with him from the start. She's like, this is me. And if I want him to fall in love with me, I need to be me, which is like one-on-one in relationships. Be yourself, right? And so like and then
find out anyway,
showing himself too. And I'm like, that's how you do it. And I was like, it was just
that's such a good point to bring up about how she was like, if he doesn't love me, it's gonna be based on me. I love, and that's like words to live by, because the guy's gonna find out anyways. Like, so I love that. Like, she wasn't pulling punches or playing games. And sometimes that can be so frustrating. And there was like no miscommunication trope. There was no third act breakup. Like it's just such a different, refreshing storyline
Mhm.
And like the fact that like, you know, he is drawn to her. His butterflies felt like creepiness or whatever.
Well, I
But
think it's because he never really
yeah.
experienced it before, and that was the
Yeah.
other thing is, like, he was a 27-year-old virgin because he just kept him to himself, and he never let anyone else have him, like, he was always I
Mhm.
mean, can you imagine being, like, a figure like, somebody that was looked at like that, and everyone just felt like they had a right to touch you, they had a right to look at you, they
Mhm.
had a right to talk to you even, and it's like like, no wonder
He's
he
a little
kept himself so
traumatized.
closed up, and he's been doing
Mhm.
that since he was a kid. So, like, no
Yeah.
wonder, like and then she just went in there, was like, "Knock, knock, I'm gonna, like, chisel this all away so you can be yourself." And so, like, I really like that they both were, like, together for the first time together and figured it out
Yeah.
because it was, like, they saved that. I don't know, like, it was just, like, romantic to, like, get to that point where it's like, "I waited for you," you know?
It was. It really was, especially because I think he just had trouble trusting. Like even in that relationship that was made, it was like manufactured.
Mhm.
That he did try with her, but there just wasn't chemistry. They were
He
friends.
didn't want to. I hated that. I felt so bad for him when he would, like, have to kiss her and stuff, and then he was always, like, being mean to himself, like, "I should be better. I should be better." I'm like, "Dude, like, you're contracted to be with her. No wonder you're not feeling it." Like, sorry to
Exactly.
interrupt you.
And no, no, you didn't. No, I was just exactly because like on top of that, like he had been through so much. Like they put him through these fan calls where he's kind of has to degrade himself. And then he always has to be pleasant. If he's not pleasant, not only is it going to look bad, but like, you know, he's got like a million people, even his own cousin is
Yeah,
like, has to take a step back and be like, well, we can't, you know, security guard, well, we can't be friends. His cousin's really bad. I mean, that's like even worse coming from a family member. He
yeah,
seems to have a decent relationship with his mom, but it's still his momager. Like,
yeah,
it's as much as you can in that situation. He
right.
lost his father.
I
It
know.
just he's been through a lot. It just seems
Mhm.
like a lonely life where, and like when he did think he thought he had a friend, it in the media like he was
Yeah.
betrayed, so he's got
Mhm.
a lot of walls up.
Mhm.
So it was nice that he was able, like she never treated him like a pop star. Like she threw a note in his face. She didn't like him. She's just this crazy girl who's like,
Right?
I don't even like you, but we're both gonna die. And
Yeah,
somehow he believed her because I think there's that little bit of magic and chemistry there
right.
that eventually led him to believe. Like he was like, even if
Mhm.
like this isn't true, I'm gonna choose to believe you because I know you believe it's true,
Right.
just in case. Which
Yeah,
I loved that. I
right?
loved that's romantic. Like I'm gonna choose to believe this
Me
curse.
too.
We're gonna
Yeah,
fight it.
yeah. Well, and I liked, like, how she was the one standing up for him, like, on that fan chat
Yeah,
thing, like, she was like, "This isn't okay," like, she was pointing it out, like, "Guys," like and then they were all the other fans were like, "Yeah, that's not okay, like,
liking
let's
it.
treat him better," and it's like, that's like, she and then, like, in the boardroom when she was, like, the assistant for, like, the day, and she's like
Yeah.
he asked her what her opinion was, and she's like, "Teach them that it's not okay," you know, and I was like, "Thank you," so I
Mm-hmm.
think he saw, like, this person, like, he's in a room with his
Cares.
cousin, he's in the room with his mom, he's in there with all these people, like, he makes money for, and no one's
Mm-hmm.
actually there for him, right? So, like, she was
Yeah.
the only one that was like, "You, what do you need?" I kept waiting for him to pull a Taylor Swift and leave the label. I was waiting for him to be like,
Right. I
"I'm
wondered
done
that
with
too. Like
this,
I'm
stop telling me what to
bored.
do, I'm gonna write my own songs." Like, I thought his last concert, like, he was gonna, like, sing a new song that he wrote while being with her, and that was gonna be their magic
Their moment.
that,
Yeah.
like, made it actually happen. Because I know
Mm-hmm.
Sam's like, Sam will always give you a happily ever after. Like, that's her
Yeah.
thing. She's like, "You will work for it, but you will get it, and you just need to trust her." And it was hard sometimes. And then I'm reading, did you cry? I actually got teary-eyed when they were, like, both dying in the dressing room.
Oh yeah. I knew
I
they
was
weren't
like,
gonna die, but I did
"No."
cry. I did
I knew
cry.
that somehow it was gonna work out, but
You
it
know
was
when I
just
started, when she ran on this stage, reading that, I had just had this vivid like mind of her being panicked and like being like, oh my god, it hasn't happened yet, and like her running to him, like, oh, I'm about to cry right now, and him just stopping the concert for her, and then like dying. Oh my god, in each other's arms,
I know.
like, and a part of me thought, okay,
And
I
Joel,
thought I,
so like having them like Jules helping them hold hands because Jules, like as much as he's a
Yes.
stupid guy,
He's such a grump. I love him.
I love him so much.
Just like what? So, okay, first of all, I had loved him and I was like, oh, I hope he gets his own book. Boom. Then we get a POV. This is his book too.
Yeah,
And then the girlfriend, oh my gosh, what's her name? It's escaping
Casey.
me, Matt. Casey. Oh, I was saying Madison for a minute. Casey. I was like, you think, oh, she's gonna be villainous, we're not gonna like her. No, she is a
Mhm,
cool girl who is
mhm,
like supportive of Jules and
mhm.
like really does fall for him.
Yeah.
And I love their relationship.
Mhm.
That was so cool to me. And like such a surprise to be getting both of their POVs. I loved that.
I agree.
And then Jules' story, I'm like thinking as I'm reading, okay, like it's gonna be like the last day for her. It's gonna be at this concert. Then I started thinking, well, maybe she will fall for him, like for him sooner. And then every time I thought that she did, she didn't. And
Mhm,
then when we found out it was her and not him,
mhm.
I liked that twist.
Well,
That
and
it
it
was like
made sense to me. Like
it
I was
did.
wondering because I'm like, he's
It
falling. I'm
did.
like, I think she's holding back. Like every time, and then I was like, well, every
But she
time
didn't
something
believe
gets close,
it.
she like will break. Like it was just like her, like
She didn't feel good
climaxing.
enough
She
for
wouldn't let
him.
go for it, and so I was like, maybe she.
Yeah.
But then she started letting go and not thinking of the curse, and it still didn't work. And then to find out was
Mhm.
her like sacrificing herself is really what
Yeah.
did it.
I
It's,
loved that. But then you're wondering about Jules. And I know I saw like people posting in the group like scared about Jules and Sam being like, well, you can read like spoilers here, but we have happy endings. I will say, and I always say this, but maybe because he had a POV, I I'm glad he didn't die. I really liked the way it ended and it made sense. And he did die. I mean, he did sacrifice himself. He did. He chose to not try to break up that family. He chose to be with who he loved, Casey.
mhm.
And I wondered, like, okay, when will the curse transfer over because he loves her so much? But then we heard about like a married couple that did love each other and it didn't matter. So I'm like, how is this going to go down? Like, how are we going to save him? Because that's not his match. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, if he did die, it would be super powerful and super sad. It would make an impression. I don't want it to happen, but but there's this part of me that is like, but if it did,
Right.
but I like that what we got though was he did die. He did make the
Everyone
sacrifice.
dies.
Yeah, but then Joe, who has been such a prominent figure of this, it makes it so much more real for them and for us that he died recently. Their cousin that they loved so much and was like another sibling to them, had something to do with it in his tree, and it all came back.
Mhm.
So that was really beautiful, and
Yeah.
that he was willing to die for that love,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it broke the curse.
It broke the curse. And so it's like that, like self-sacrifice.
And Joe deciding like trading it in the whatever afterworld he was in, and then his tree
Yeah.
died. So I think Joe was sticking around,
Yeah.
watching over them.
He definitely was. And yeah, like I was really afraid that Jules would die, and I'm really happy he didn't.
Hmm.
I'm happy that he did for a few minutes and we saw
Right?
like the torture and the crying. But I'm
Yeah.
happy for Lake because like I think it would have put her in a really bad place emotionally and mentally, going like
Mhm.
he chose not to try to do this because of
Oh
me.
yeah.
So like
Oh yeah.
it worked out because I feel like it really because she was already like thinking that, and so if he did fully die, I think she would have went down a really dark path. Even though she had Tam, she would get out of it, but I think it would have been hard for her.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't have been a happily ever after
No, it
for
wouldn't.
their family.
It would have.
And they really all did become a family. Tam, got to experience what it's like to have a family. So did Casey. I feel like, especially by the end, it was all like this big, happy family, which I loved. And I did like, we didn't talk about how like there was betrayal like within the friend group and how that unfortunately happens. So like there was just so much explored in this book, and I just love a standalone that's like 900 pages
Mhm.
because you really get to explore the characters, the depth, what can happen. I didn't have to worry about it ending too soon. Like I feel like I got the whole experience.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And it's
And
like I'm even sitting here going like, what? I'm trying to think of like scenes and stuff, and I'm like, it's such a I like, okay, I finished the book last night. It took me almost 2 weeks to read it somehow. Like, and it's like yeah, I'm like, I
Are you
bet like
still
I'm
processing?
still processing, I feel like, but like one thing I can say, like beyond like, amazing read, I liked that it was long. I liked that like we got this full story.
Mhm.
I really liked the time when like Tam drove to see her. Like he was working and he drove and he only had enough time to like go see her and like turn around. Like to me that meant so much. But then I was looking at like the percentage and I was like, oh my gosh, this book's not. I was thinking like, okay, the book's I'm like, no, we're not even
It's like,
close,
no.
So it's like that journey of being like, why isn't this getting fixed? But then
Hmm.
like even like for a minute before we knew who Jules's match was, I was wondering if it was Tam as well. Like, not like
Tam.
yeah, I wasn't not like
I thought
like, romantic.
Casey,
I didn't think like a
like a
because
friendship.
I was thinking it was
Huh.
gonna be like a friendship one
Hmm.
because he was gonna be if everything worked out, he would be Lake's husband eventually, right? They would probably get married, and so Jules, it'd
Hmm.
be like his brother-in-law, so it was like a bromance, like, you know what I mean?
Huh.
Like, not romantic.
Even though they clash so much.
It's so much, but, like, I was wondering because like, he's like,
It's,
"I really don't like this," and so I was like, "Maybe that's who he matched," because like, I
oh, because
remember
he's
him on the
angry about.
first
Mhm.
concert and how he was kinda, like, taken aback a little bit at one
Hmm.
point, and I was like, "Was that the moment? Was that the moment when he" like, because they don't tell you for a while, and we're
Yeah,
all,
so
like,
we were
thinking, like, "Maybe
wondering.
he is, maybe he" and then I was like, "Maybe he" and then I thought, well, maybe when KC went on the stage is when he matched with KC, but I was like, "I think it's Tam," like, for the longest time, like, he's gotta learn how to figure out how to get along with Tam, and that's how he's gonna break his curse, like, but it was this
But I think for
random
him, I
person.
think I think why he struggled with Tam was not only his sister, but I think he was like resigned to dying at that point. And I think he's like, oh, I have to leave this my sister with this guy. Like no one's gonna be good enough to leave my sister with. So I think that's where he kind of had some problems.
Yeah.
But I was thinking KC for a while. I was thinking, okay, he maybe he was like all talk, and then at like when they were together at one point, like it happened. Because she wanted to see his wrist. She was like so gung ho about it. But to find out that it was somebody that like 2 days like after, and it was like this church mom. It's like whoa, that was a
Yeah.
twist.
But then I was really upset at one point. Like I liked Casey in a way how she was like, I'm gonna pay her husband to leave her and like,
I like that too.
but then I was kind
I
of
was like,
upset
go Casey.
where he's like, leave
Mhm.
them alone because I was like, wait, you're not even gonna try, you're gonna let this mother of three die. To me, I kept thinking of that. Like, you're gonna let
Because
her
also she
die
died.
because if you
Also she
die, she
died.
dies. And that was bothering me. So like I was like,
Hmm.
and she doesn't even know she's gonna die, and it's like but then I start going like, would you want to know you were gonna die? Like, how do you
Yeah,
tell somebody
and
you
like,
don't
would
know
you
that
want
they're
to
gonna
ruin a
die?
family?
Like, it was just this big thing that I'm like, "What's he gonna do?" So part of me is like, does he have a plan, or is he just, like, come to terms with, like, this mother's gonna die and the curse is awful? It was like
Try to do a friendship. He's like, maybe we could try a friendship. And I think they just thought at that point, there's not enough time.
yeah,
She's like this Christian woman, a mother of three. Like they're not gonna get to like there just wasn't gonna be. I think he just thought it was too insurmountable. I think he would have tried if Lake didn't get the curse 2 days before. That's what I think. I think he would have. Well, and I think he even said at one point, it's not that I don't think I could, it's that I don't want to do that to them or something.
yeah,
Maybe I
something like that.
forget.
Well, and he was in love with Casey, and he's like, "I don't wanna leave Casey, I'm
Yeah,
not
he
gonna leave
really
her
loved
behind."
her.
And the platonic thing was like a really like what was it 2% chance of like platonic.
Oh
I remember they had
yeah,
like
it
all
was
these
like
statistics and
I
stuff.
know. It's like there's an
So
8% chance if you have sex.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's like, but yeah, it was just a really tough situation, and I'm like not mad at him for like focusing on his sister and making sure she was okay. Such a big brother
yeah,
thing to do, but it was just like,
yeah. She.
it's a rough one. I
I
can't,
know, right?
you know,
It was rough, and I was wondering how we're gonna come out of that.
yeah. But
He
I
was
did
just such a good brother, like such a
a
good
great
brother.
brother and a good sister too, like that
Yeah, they have
relationship, like
great relationship.
and the understanding, and I think that family just had that because they had, like, the dark humor and, like, this and stuff
Mhm.
because you had to, right? Because everyone was gonna have
Yeah,
this
it bonded
person.
them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
And I also love that it was, I mean, because it's long, it's a slow burn. And I loved that. Like, I love that it took its time. It's like at first he thinks she's crazy. Like, at first, like, we have that scene where she's like, like nude after the hot dog, like these meet cutes. And then, she's working and she's wearing a tambourine costume and they're flirting. Like, there's just so much time to build up this romance, this friendship, really, first.
Mhm.
It's building up a like he just wants a friend at first, and then it starts to like fall in love, and then we get to the spicy times. Like I love that it was a slow burn.
Yeah.
As I just love that, like, the romance was really, like, we got dates. They went to like an escape room. They went to
Yeah.
have tea guard, like the guard, like, was it a botanical garden? I can't
The
remember.
gardens and the museum
Gardens.
house
Yeah.
thing, and
It,
yeah, I liked that a
it's
lot.
just time, and then you have the music world and assistants, and just it was just such a full book.
Mhm.
I mean, this book was the size of like a trilogy. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
it just felt so, I felt the depths for like the depth that was in it, the layers, the emotion, the loss of their cousin. I could go on and on. It was just such a beautiful book.
Yeah,
Really was. And I
it
was
was.
so immersed. And I was immersed for a week. You were immersed for 2 weeks. It just sticks with you.
It really
It's
does.
nothing like a long book like that.
I finished the book, and a
Hmm.
lot of times when I finish books, I start the next one, like, right away, like,
Yeah.
and I couldn't. I was like, I was, like, satisfied that I was like, "I can go to bed," and I
Yeah.
did because I was like, "I can't even start anything." And then even, like, I'm thinking
Yeah.
about today, I'm like, "Am I gonna be able to pick up the next book? Or
This
am I
is
gonna
a
have to
book
jump into, like,
over.
a reread just because I'm still, like," but it's just
You might.
it's a really good, it's a good love story. It really is, and it's a love story from
Writing.
family and romantic and, like, everything. It has, like, all of them. So many.
I love that about CM and her romances. It's not all like, first of all, you're getting romance. It's not just spice. You're getting romance. You're
Yeah,
getting a plot. You're getting a story. And you're also getting, it's not just the couple, you're getting those family dynamics. Like, I'll go to like Lost Daughter of a Serial Killer, and I think one of the best relationships in that book was between Dakota and her mother,
mhm,
and that relationship being explored. I just love how CM does that. Like, we're exploring, in this book we have the brother sister relationship.
yeah,
I just yeah, I could just talk about this forever, so
right,
I'll stop. It was just
right.
so good. And
Um,
all the and all the research she did, I mean, all the
all the
different combos and flavors. And everybody who's read this book either
yeah,
like got boba or is looking into boba. And I
yeah,
already had a pre-existing condition. So this was like
right.
my pass. And I was like, okay, I have to stop now. So I cut myself off after I finished the book. And then I said, okay, we're podcasting today. I can have one.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
found a new shop where you like do it yourself and like mix it yourself. It was cool.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I would probably end up making something horrible because I'm awful. I'm like, "That sounds great," and then I'm like, "Oh, no, that wasn't great." Um,
I made it like, I even did like less sweet, but I put too much syrup in it, so I've been adding some water to it. It
right,
helps. Say
right.
it. Hey, now I've got 2 drinks, but it's fun.
Yeah. Um, I do have to say that I feel like the end snuck up on me on the part where it was like, we have like 8 bobas left or 6, and then all of a sudden it's down to 2, and I'm like, "Wait,
It was
what?"
like, oh,
Like, there was such a gap. Like, all of a sudden, I was like, because, like, at first, I'm like,
yeah.
"Wow, these are going, like," not slow, but it was
Oh,
just like
yeah,
56, 55, 52, and then all of a sudden,
yeah.
I just felt like we were, like, there, and I'm like, "What?" And that's so life, though, right? Where you're like, "Oh, in
It's so
3
life,
months is this big event," and then all of a sudden, you're like, "It's next week."
right?
Yeah,
Exactly. It's like, oh yeah, 72 days till that, and then you're like, oh,
yeah,
time really. What? Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, Yeah. So we love this book. New favorite MF standalone.
mhm.
I can say that
I
like
agree.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really
So
good. And yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out a hair of the book for this one.
it's
Uh,
it's tough. It's tough out here. It's tough out here after this book, you guys.
a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard act. There's nothing like it, and
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for CM's next project. I'm always following on Facebook to see what
Mhm.
she's putting out next. I'm excited.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm liking her updates. I'm liking her like all of her posts on them. I like that she's like back at it. Like she took a break and she's back there. Like
Following the muse, and her muse is brilliant. So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
please follow your muse. We're
Keep following
enjoying
that
it.
muse. Yeah. Those are the
Yeah,
best books. Yeah.
they really are.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone. Comment, join our group.
Join our chat.
Yeah. And see you
Yeah.
next time.
Bye, everybody.